In this question, we are going to complete the half equation for the reaction at each electrode. First, the question tells us that both electrodes are immersed in alkaline electrolyte. So that means for the balancing, we will use hydroxide ions for the number of oxygen. Now, the overall cell reaction is given here. So I'm going to find the oxidation number for all the species so that we know what is reduced and what is oxidized before we split it into two half equations. Now, silver here is positive 1 because oxygen will always have negative 2 oxidation number. So 2 silver to balance the negative 2 charge from the oxygen. Silver has a positive 1 oxidation number. Zinc element, always a 0 oxidation number. Hydrogen in water, positive 1. Oxygen in water, negative 2. Silver here is an element, so 0 oxidation number. Zinc here to balance the 2 negative 1 from hydroxide ion, positive 2 oxidation number. Oxygen here, negative 2. Hydrogen, positive 1. Now let's look at which one has its oxidation number decreases. So silver to silver, positive 1 changed to 0. So this is reduction. It's a reduce in the oxidation number. Zinc to zinc, 0 to positive 2. This is oxidation. Okay, now I'm going to do my working below this answer space. Later we can write our final answer at the space given. So for reduction, silver oxide forms silver. Now I'm leaving a lot of space in between so that later I can write other reactants and also products. For oxidation, we have zinc forming zinc hydroxide. Okay, now let's balance the half equation for reduction of silver oxide to silver first. From silver oxide to silver, left hand side I have 1 O, but right hand side is lacking of 1 oxygen. So to balance the number of oxygen, I will use hydroxide ion. There are certain steps that we can follow. Number 1, to balance the number of oxygen, we use hydroxide ions. So we are going to add hydroxide ion on the side which lacks oxygen. Now the reason why I use hydroxide ion is because it is immersed in an alkaline electrolyte. So I only need 1 oxygen on the right hand side, therefore I put 1 OH minus. Right. After adding hydroxide ion to the right hand side, I realize that now left hand side lacks 1 hydrogen. So step number 2, to balance the number of hydrogen, I'm going to use water. Because alkaline electrolyte means inside that electrolyte we have hydroxide ions, we also have water. Therefore, I need 1 hydrogen, but every time we add water, minimum that you add is 2 hydrogen. So it's okay, just add 1 water first. Now by adding 1 water to the left hand side, now right hand side is again lacks of hydrogen and oxygen. 1 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, so that means I have to add 2 in front of hydroxide ion. Now let's check. Left hand side 2 oxygen, 2 hydrogen. Right hand side 2 oxygen, 2 hydrogen. So now we have balanced the number of hydrogen and oxygen on both sides. We still have silver to balance. So 2 silver here, so 2 silver on the right hand side as well. Now we have the third step to do, which is to balance the charge. Now we're going to use electrons in balancing the charge. Let's find the overall charge on the left hand side for now. Here we have a compound, silver oxide, which has a zero charge. Water also zero charge, so total zero charge. Right hand side, I have silver element, zero charge. One hydroxide ion has a -1 charge, so two hydroxide ion, 2 multiplied by -1 charge. Overall, we have -2 charge on the right hand side. Now we want to make these two numbers the same. We're going to add electrons to the left hand side. Because electron has negative charge, we can only turn the more positive overall charge to the more negative one. So by adding 2 electrons on the left hand side, now the overall charge change from 0 to -2. The charge on both sides are balanced. This half equation is balanced. We can now write this half equation in the space given. Silver oxide with water, 2 electrons, right hand side 2 silver and 2 hydroxide ions. So let's do the same thing to the oxidation half equation. Here we have zinc forming zinc hydroxide. So left hand side we need 2 hydroxide ions. We are actually still following these steps. First is to balance the number of oxygen. So left hand side lacks 2 oxygen because right hand side we have 2 oxygen. So add 2 hydroxide ion to balance the number of oxygen. Adding 2 hydroxide ions, we are also balancing the number of hydrogen at the same time. 2 hydrogen on the left, 2 hydrogen on the right hand side. So number of oxygen and hydrogens are balanced. We can go to step 3, which is to balance the charge. Left hand side, 0 from zinc. 2 multiplied by -1 from each hydroxide, so overall -2. Right hand side, we have only 1 zinc hydroxide compound, 0 charge. So we will add electrons to the right hand side to make this 0 more negative. So now both sides, same charge. The charge is balanced. This is our balanced oxidation half reaction, and we can now write it in the space given. So zinc with 2 hydroxide ion will form zinc hydroxide and 2 electrons. So we have completed the 2 half equation for each electrode.